Pass me a glass, mate.
Please. Please and thank you. Are we already live, by the way?
We're live. It's very good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, mate. I'm good to be back. Good to be here.
I will say this about the new mic boom is the drinking part of the podcast becomes a real fucking
Awkward.
nightmare. But that's all right.
That's all right. It's we find a way in this business.
You know, I feel like
You do want it. No. What are you doing?
I feel like we need
A fresh glass.
a fresh glass. Hold that. Because that's molested. And we've got new wine.
Yeah, we don't want to bastardize my... Oh, rocket like a redhead. There we go. A rocket like a redhead. I think Josh is actually trying to tell me something. Rocket like a redhead. Thank you, good sir. Oh, I like these. The shorter glasses. Stemless. Longer to reach to the ground.
Help yourself, mate.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be back. Good to be back in Melbourne town. Came straight here as well. Didn't muck about. I came straight here for my recording. So.
Well, that's because you needed a bed. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But you know what? Here's the interesting thing. You're like me, like that. We keep in touch a little bit, but it's generally related around work,
film.
And
it's our biggest thing in common. It's how we met.
Progressing. So, hey, mate, I need advice on this. Or, hey, mate, I want to get this done. Or, hey, mate, I'm in town. I need a bed. And we're both like, done. And I like that.
It's film family, man. I mean,
fucking nonsense about it.
I think we met doing a photo shoot out in the forest, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we met on.
We met at Thea's. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, and I think we definitely bonded more when we did that photo shoot for sure.
Oh yeah, man. You and I actually only spoke on the tram because you were doing your fucking thing.
That's true.
You were handing out phone numbers to get contacts
networking,
off everyone.
Yeah, they were networking. I was introducing you to someone I'd only met 20 minutes prior. There was like a young fella that was here with his mum.
Oh. Right? There was the young fella and there was the Perth chick, Ricky.
Yeah,
Is it Ricky Lee?
Something like that. No, Ricky Lee sounds like
we ended up
Australian
catching
Idol.
the train all the way through to a couple of other, whatever, we sort of followed the same line, but she's from Perth.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I reached out to her maybe 6 months later or something like that about a project, and I had seen that I had messaged her 5 years previously because we were both from Perth, and my hairdresser at the time said, you should reach out to this chick, Ricky, because she's a friend of ours.
Because she's in film.
No, because she was a model at the time, and that's when I was in fashion.
No way.
But she never responded. Bitch.
And suck, Ricky.
Yeah, right. Fucking Ricky. And just like she hasn't responded to the last message. So
Classic.
No, she actually applied for Lauren.
Did she?
Yeah.
Bet you wish you replied then.
Yeah. But I think when the message came through that there was nudity involved, it was another dial tone.
No. There's another dial tone. Well, which is fair enough. I mean, like each to their own. But I mean, some artistic visions. Cheers. Some artistic visions do require, the human form, so that's part of it. Never done a nudie scene, never done a sex scene myself.
Right.
Neither.
Right.
Not out of choice or anything. It's never come about. Nobody's looked at me acting and thought, you know what he should be in.
Well, look, to be fair, mine was written by me, so as bad as that sounds.
Self-cast, yeah. Yeah.
But I think I would have. Look, the sex scene was that. It's a step out, but I don't think for me it was not as big a step out as if I was going. If someone asked me to be really large, like I'm very very condensed and very subtle. If someone said, I need you to do a Jim Carrey impersonation for this scene, I'd be terrified, And that is a million miles away from having to do a sex scene in front of a bunch of students. But, as far as the nudity got on that for me, it was just my butt, And I'm...
We're not talking like.
I'm a grower, not a shower, so I don't know.
We're not talking about The Room like level of butt, are we? Like The Room, the movie, it is like showing like an amazing. Have you seen The Room? Have you seen
No.
You haven't seen The Room?
No, are we talking about like
Have you seen The Room, Josh?
like Brie Larson Room?
No, that's Room. Have you seen The Room?
No, so I heard someone slamming this recently.
What?
Like it was like
Room
a total
or The
bomb.
Room?
The Room.
That Room was the Room is universally an absolute bomb.
Right, okay.
Terrible.
I haven't seen it.
Arguably one of the worst films ever made. Inarguably maybe, but it's become a cult hit because it's so bad.
Who's in it?
Nobody.
Okay.
The two guys that are in it are Tommy Wiseau and Greg, the gentleman I can't remember his last name, better known as Mark, because that's his character's name. Oh, hi, Mark. Like that's his the whole catchphrase from this film. But people would get together in cinemas all over the world. At the Rio Theatre in Vancouver, they will do a screening, I think like every couple of months, at least every 6 months, of The Room, and people will like dress up, people will say all the lines, but it's so bad it's good. It's so and it became the book. Greg wrote this book called Disaster Artist, and it's about this.
Okay. I thought you were going that direction.
And then that became the film, which starred James Franco and Dave Franco,
Seth Rogen.
Yes, Disaster Artist, which is a fucking great film.
I refuse to watch it.
It's really good, man.
No, I'm sure that it is.
But you need to watch The Room first.
But I cannot stand Franco, and I think he's a total pedophile. And I don't understand how he's managed to escape this Me Too movement when he was trying to fuck that 14-year-old in New York. And
this is complete news to me.
And she's like, do you know I'm 14? He's like texting her on Instagram or whatever. And she's like, I don't know that you're James Franco. Send me a photo of you with my name. He sends it to her. And she's telling him that she's like 14, 15. He's like, come to my house, rah, 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 rah. This is before the movement. No one has fucking picked this up. Somehow he's managed to squash it.
I mean, I don't know.
But he still copped heat.
People have teams on that stuff, man.
He copped heat that he managed to...
When the whole movement happened and it was going to happen, people's teams went to work. Whether or not they'd done anything.
I know.
I honestly think meetings had been like, okay, let's sit down with our guys. No, let's sit down with our guys and, okay, hey, is there anything we need to know about? Is there anything we need to worry about that will come out? Yes, no, okay, we'll deal with the damage, or thank God there's no damage. Those conversations probably happened, and
for sure,
that's those people doing their jobs. I mean, there's some hairy shit that came out. Stuff is gonna get missed. Shit's gonna get missed.
It was out there,
but I'm just gonna also I like the man's work. I don't know anything about his private life.
What do you like?
Huh?
What do you like?
Well, that's an interesting segue.
Okay, what's it? No. About him.
What do I like about him? There's something kind of unapologetic about Franco. I think he's good at his certain types of characters. I think casting him as James Dean was a no-brainer. I genuinely think so.
What?
I genuinely think so. Name another actor that looks as like him and can pull off that persona.
The fellow who played him after him with Robert Pattinson and Joel Edgerton.
Who was?
The dude from... he was in Lawless. He was in Valerian.
Valerian?
Yeah, with the model. You've seen Lawless.
Lawless, yes, with Shia LaBeouf.
Right, the little brother that's fucking eccentric and crazy.
Yes. And
the film was
played
about
James Dean.
Yeah, the film was about...
No, he's great. He's in that found footage film about where they all develop powers. And
that's the one I was trying to think of at the start, but I can't remember. So he plays James Dean in a film about the guy...
He plays the Green Goblin.
The photographer who took the photo... the famous photo of James Dean in Times Square. It's about that photographer and his relationship. And Joel Edgerton is the publisher who gave the photographer the chance to go down there. And it was the photographer who believed in James Dean. It was before he really took off. Said, this kid's got something. Let me go and photograph him. They got fucking wasted for like however long on a bender. And he took that photo of him and he went.
That's the famous one.
That's the famous one of him walking through the street. I thought he really captured the darkness and the trouble and the sorrow, because that's that kid's brand, right?
That actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name is. But
no, neither do I off the top of my head, but like I can name multiple films he's in where he's fucking phenomenal.
he's always great.
Yeah,
I'm
very consistent.
I didn't see Valerian. It's the actress that played the fucking sorceress in fucking Justice League or whatever it was.
What's Valerian?
Suicide Squad. Valerian is, it's kind of like this decade's, the film that Disney film, John Carter or whatever it was.
Okay.
It's kind of like that.
Well,
and
that bombed hard.
It bombed as equally as hard.
I mean, not for.
I actually really liked it.
Taylor Kitsch, is this?
Taylor Kitsch, that's right.
Not for lack of a good performance.
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah, I liked it. Mark Strong was great in it. I'm pretty sure.
I love Mark Strong in everything, man.
And
I
that
think
other chick from...
even Kingsman, like actually Kingsman's pretty good. Like Kingsman's actually pretty good to watch.
First
It's
one's
pretty
good.
fun to watch, right? But Mark Strong's fucking great in almost
Mark Strong.
everything, man.
God, okay.
Sherlock Holmes, Lord Blackwood, just a beast.
Favorite Mark Strong?
Mark Strong role.
Yeah.
I think I just named it, but
Rock and Roller.
Rock and Roller. Yeah, that's a close second. Yeah, that would have been a close second because he's so good in it, and he's just phenomenal. Isn't he in this new one that's coming out with Guy Ritchie as well? Isn't he? Is he in this new one that's coming? The Gentleman. Have you seen this? Guy Ritchie's got one coming out with like
it's out.
It's already out.
Yeah, with Matthew McConaughey and
Has
Colin
that already
Farrell.
dropped?
Dude, that's been out for like at least a month.
Oh fuck! No way.
Wow, you just got exposed. I do wonder.
No, I don't. This is the thing. Like we've been having dinner and like you're like, what? That happened. This happened. Like, I don't watch the news. I don't watch anything like that.
But
like,
you're a movie guy. You must follow what's coming out.
I do watch what's coming up, but like I'm not at the gate ready for things to go out. I'm like listening to reviews and I like hearing opinions and stuff. I do end up making my own opinion on it, but I'm really curious to watch the market's perception or the market's impact or how people see it before I actually see it for myself.
What do you prefer, to just walk into a film like, that sort of old school scenario where you just go to the cinema? I like that title. Or do you like to see what's coming and have watched a preview and have all of that excitement about, like the latest Bond film that's coming out? I'm fucking pumped about it, and I've been following that for years.
Yeah. See, I haven't even watched the trailer.
Right. Oh, God, it looks good.
And
I love watching trailers. I can't help myself.
One of my good buddies in Canada, like I'm over here from Vancouver right now. I live in Vancouver, and one of my good buddies is like a diehard Bond fan, and I'll go and see it with him. And I honestly, I would love, like a part of me would be like, it would be amazing to audition for a Bond role one day. They don't audition; they get offered. Let's be real. But that's the thing.
The supporting roles must get auditioned.
Oh, you do get auditioned. Yeah. But the Bond goes straight to offer.
Oh, Bond is
straight to offer.
You don't reckon Daniel Craig auditioned?
No.
I think he did.
No way.
He wasn't a name then.
Huh?
He wasn't like...
He was established.
He was established, but if you spoke to people like, oh, do you know Daniel Craig?
They can offer to read.
Right.
But like they something like that, they're gonna go straight to offer.
Okay.
Like, and it might be subject to like a chemistry test, or it might be
Sure.
subject to like
I know that was the case for Pierce.
Yeah.
He had a crack at it earlier, missed out. They came back to him again, and same with Henry Cavill.
Yeah. That's a pretty well known story now.
Right, exactly.
Which he won't ever get the offer now, I think, because he did Man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't know if people can kind of separate the two, but
I don't think he has the cool.
You don't think so?
No fucking way. He can be villainous, which I love.
Mission Impossible? Crushed it. Yeah.
I think he's best.
Yeah, he's really
best.
good.
And in Immortals, he can be heroic and like stoic. But I didn't believe him an uncle, not for a fucking second. He does not have that dispassionate
I get that. Yeah.
and nonchalance that Daniel Craig has. And
Daniel
Pierce
Craig's-
Brosnan.
Yeah.
There's something when he tries to be it,
Too
I'm
much.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see him in interviews. He's very like rigid. And
Rigid.
he's not smooth.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
He's kind of a Tom Cruise type.
Well, let's have a crack at casting the next one right here.
That's good. Look, for the longest time, I thought Michael Fassbender.
So did I. Yeah, actually.
And he still hasn't aged out, I don't think.
You don't think so? I love Michael Fassbender. Don't get me wrong, but I actually think if they want a 5-picture deal, they're not going to get that out of Michael. Not anymore.
No, not without him looking old.
But he can make his own stuff. Like Michael doesn't need that.
You're right. So that was what was great about everyone that came before is they might have been a little established, except for Sean Connery and what have you, but that they were able to mold that person with a fresh image. So who is on the cusp
Of someone that can only they want that person that can only then be seen as Bond. They want that person.
Do you know who I saw recently? And he was playing the villain, but goddamn, did I think he was fantastic. And I've never liked him before, and I do not know his name. But he was in Peaky Blinders, final season, and he plays the villain. He was also in like the
Tom
first.
Hardy. You're talking to me. We've talked about Peaky Blinders before. I have not watched Peaky Blinders.
Okay. So did you watch?
I know that I've seen bits of it, but
Yeah. Did you watch
Cillian Murphy would be
Killian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy. I apologize.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy is
Actually,
phenomenal
yeah.
and like would fucking do well as Bond.
He would.
But he might.
I think Peaky Blinders might have fucked him for that.
He's fucking mesmerizing. Also in Dunkirk, didn't even know it was him.
Actually,
He was just like a shadow of himself.
I wonder if Joel Edgerton would be a great Bond.
Oh, that'd be great. I'll watch that.
He's got
I
the
would watch that.
physicality,
He's
but
got
he's
the
too old,
physicality.
right? He's got to be 47, 48.
Yeah, but I love.
So this guy that I'm trying to say.
Okay, yeah.
Did
So,
you see the first
give me
Snow
another-
White and the Huntsman?
The
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, yeah. That's the one I was
So
thinking of.
he plays the childhood friend of Snow White.
I need another film. Give me another film. Come on. Something else.
Don't know,
Yeah.
but
Should we just look him up? We've got time.
Yeah, you keep your phone there. Why
Yeah.
not? Who gives a shit?
We got to know, like, if we're doing a casting session,
He
let's,
was in the last Peaky Blinders.
so he's a British actor. I'm
British
getting
actor,
that, yeah.
and he does this
Do you believe?
incredibly posh.
Do you believe that Bond has to be a British actor?
No,
Well, actually, he doesn't have to because Pierce is Irish.
yeah, and
True.
Charles Lazenby or whatever his name is,
George Lazenby.
George was
is
Australian.
Yeah, but
And old mate was Scottish, so
Scottish is part of the British order.
he's Southern Irish. No,
Yeah.
Pierce was.
He's Irish.
Yeah, but where's he from? Northern.
North.
Yeah,
North
so
Ireland.
then he's British.
No. Oh, careful.
No, but is he crossed the border or where was he actually
He's
from?
not part of the British. No.
So is he Dublin?
I don't know, but I know he's not part. It's not identified as British as far as I
Oh,
know.
okay, so he's from the Republic.
Should we? I don't know. Do we want to look him up first? Shall we?
I think you're right because anyways. No, I don't, but I do think, sorry gang, that he needs to be a man and he needs to be white.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Actually,
I think there's lots of roles you can change.
Idris
not
Elba.
Bond.
Idris Elba would crush it, no question. But
But
I
it's
think
a different thing.
But it is based on a book, and I think when you fuck with what was originally written so much,
Yeah. What are we going to have, a black Superman?
yeah, well, it goes all over the place. So I don't know.
I just think there's a point where we just don't need to do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah,
You know?
there's different. Here we go. Pierce Brosnan was born in. I'm gonna ruin this. Drogheda County Louth, Ireland. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if that's north.
You know. Oh yeah, Drogheda, County
Louth.
Yeah, Louth, maybe. Yeah. He lived in Navan County, somewhere. Look, I was a big Pierce fan. Big Pierce fan. GoldenEye was quite... If it wasn't for GoldenEye, Casino Royale wouldn't exist. You know, because the franchise was in the fucking toilet at that point.
GoldenEye's the game changer.
It was the game changer. I remember the first commercials and it was like, wait, I'm getting a Bond from my generation. Like I felt like I'd only been watching my parents' Bond for years, you know, on reruns on TV.
Yeah.
And everyone with that big jump off the dam was like, oh snap. It was hot property. But anyways, so hey man, what's going on? You back in back in Melbourne?
We're getting stop talking about films for a second. Talk about the
we'll
real
roll
life.
on. We're not film critics. I don't want to be a total prick.
We're definitely not film critics, not by any means. We love to talk about film. It's the biggest thing we have in common, and I do love it. But yeah, I'm back. I'm back in town. I'm still looking up this actor, by the way. I am.
Oh, do you want me to just do it quickly so we can?
Sam Claflin.
Let me look. Yes,
That's him.
Yeah,
He's got a good look, and he looks good age for it too.
dude. He's spot on. He's got all the moves.
Yeah, but he could be a Craig. Like people know, like he's familiar, but
He's
it's not
familiar.
Oh, is he?
He's got the voice.
Shit, no voice is just.
Do you know who people have been speculating? And I do believe actually he would be amazing. Is your fella from Outlander? The Scottish fella.
The Scottish fella. Well, I think he's in contention.
Right. Yeah.
Jamie something, isn't it?
Clough.
Well, that's his character's name. But no, I think I think he's in contention in a big way.
He's great.
Yeah, and
do you know who would have been magnificent if he was a little?
I think his name's Sam too somehow.
No, it sounds about right. Sam, not Guthrie, but it's like it's a full-on Celtic type last name. I think is your man Tobias. If he was just a little better looking,
my man Tobias.
Your man is Irish speak. It's something that stuck with me for years. Ex-girlfriend is Irish. Your man, your one. Your one means a girl. Your man means his old mate. Yeah. Tobias, who plays like Prince Philip in The Crown, and
Matt Smith. Which season of The
his
Crown?
name's Tobias.
Okay, so it depends on which season because Matt Smith plays him for a season.
Right. So that's your Doctor Who fella.
Yeah.
The older version.
The older version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Outlander?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched it through and through.
So he plays like her husband before she time travels, and then he plays Captain Jack Randall or whatever. And he's like one of the best villains I've seen on TV.
Like Sam Claflin is the dude's name. We're calling it now because if we call it, it's nuts. All right. And what was the Outlander fella's name? I think it's Sam too. I swear to God it is.
But you're right. If Tom Hardy weren't more famous,
yeah, Sam Huygen or Hugan
or Hugh Jackman if he was younger.
He's Oh no, you could probably do it now. If Hugh Jackman was game to go play Bond.
He's a little old because now he's just laid off the roids
I was
and
gonna say,
everything.
He's not doing Wolverine again.
He's like
he doesn't
aged
really
out.
want to get Jack to go play Bond. I think his wife would leave him.
Yeah, and he's
They've been through
full of
all
sun
that.
cancer and fucking whatever.
Nothing wrong with that, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in town.
But you're in town for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Or you're going to blend them. You're going to blend them.
It sounded, I always...
You got a wedding and...
Got a wedding. I'm in town for a wedding. And I don't normally travel for weddings, but it's my my big brother's wedding, so...
You and your brother...
I missed a few weddings, a wedding or two, didn't I? So, yeah.
Yeah, prick.
Yeah, well, I'm in the wedding party,
it was a last minute invite.
Yeah, but...
And it is literally on the exact opposite side
of the world,
including the opposite hemisphere for our wedding in Perth.
It is. Yeah, it's literally, and that's where he lives.
Oh, you bro?
Yeah,
that's right. But he's here for the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I'm in town for that. But I'm not a take holidays kind of guy. I don't really
We don't need to, though.
I get itchy fingers. I can't sit still. I've got to be doing something. I've got to be writing something. I've got to be making something. I've got to be. So we're here. We're actually going to be doing my first seminar in Melbourne.
Oh, that's
too.
right.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. So I'm doing a seminar about getting over to Canada and working in film. It's part of a organization business that I started about a year and a half, 2 years ago, called Screen Speak Australia. And eventually what I'd like it to be is about conversations and talks about ideas and concepts and things that we're not talking about in film. I'd love it to be that kind of platform. But we're definitely starting out on where my biggest knowledge base is, which is I know how to get over to Canada, get working, get legally set up, have all the stuff you need to get a job in film in Canada. Because I've been there for 2 years. Coming on 2 years. I've got another 2-year visa, so I've done the 2-year visa process of applying and getting approved twice, and I'm in the process of submitting for my permanent residency. I've already got my application I've got my invitation to apply, and which takes an application just to get the invitation to apply, and then so now it's on to the next stage of that. So there's a lot of pieces and bits of knowledge that I've been developing over the years, and so now it's becoming a seminar series that I'm doing. So I'm doing one here in Melbourne on the 24th of February. But
Howard's?
Howard Fine Studio. Yeah. We're doing it at Howard Fine Studio. I'm very excited, very glad to be doing it there.
I love that rogue burp that comes out as you're chatting along.
That's right. Just as I'm talking about my most passionate things, and funny thing is that it's really is an honor to do it at the Howard Fine Studio. Howard Fine's acting book, Fine on Acting, was the very first acting book I read. So it is really cool to be doing it there. And my shout out to my dear friend Jess for hooking that up. She's a legend. And so we'll be doing it again for the third time up at Ben Parkinson's casting studio up in Brizzy. So Ben and his lovely colleagues and partners in crime, Joey Vieira and Christy Sexton have been great supporters of mine for the longest time. And I consider them friends and been working with them, and we've filmed stuff together and all these different things. And so they've really helped us kind of find some ground and some traction up there. So we'll do one up there as well and spread the word and get the word about Canada out there. And there's over 50 productions going on in Vancouver right now as we speak. So they're expecting, they had 120 plus productions there last year, and they're expecting more than closer to 150 this year.
So my question is this, because I have a friend who's popped back into town. You and I have touched on this before. Mm-hmm. And she was out in Toronto with all the right contacts, right? She's got a cousin who is on.
It's all who you know.
Right, but so here we go. She's got a cousin who put her in with the agency. 2 cousins. One of them, boy and girl. One of them, auditioned for fucking Spider-Man for the lead against Tom Holland. The other was in Handmaid's final season. Well, not final season, but the last season, sharing a 5-minute scene with Moss. When my mate gets there, they wouldn't give her a single audition because she was an Aussie. And that they said,
in Toronto,
casting agencies don't want to see you because you're not Canadian. And she had to go in there and fight for them to start submitting. So you touched on this a little bit when I told you I was looking at residency. Do you feel it's transitioning at all, or what the hell?
I think you need to know what you're doing.
How do you mean?
I mean, I think it helps to know how the system works there. It helps to know that Canada works similar but different to Australia.
But if you've got a Canadian agent and you come referred by 2 people from the same place that you're from who are killing it, you would think that reel's good. She's done great stuff.
Yeah.
You think that wouldn't be a problem, but that was the thing that they kicked back to her.
Well, I have them as well, and I have friends as well that have booked there. I have booked there, but I only know one person personally that has booked a recurring role on a 2-year work visa.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
hard to book on a 2-year
On
work visa.
On the work visa.
Especially,
which is what she said. Yeah.
Which is what my agent told me as well. And my agent is a very, very real. Will tell me calls it how she sees it, and that's what I love about her. And her
She
partner
throws a straight dice.
Oh, she's the best at that. If my accent is not up to scratch in an audition, she'll tell me it's fucking shit.
Which is what you fucking need.
Which is what I need. That's
Yeah.
what I love about her. And she was with another agency and brought me over to the biggest agency in Canada, which is The Characters. And when she got pulled over, she invited me over, and I said, okay, well, like, you've got my loyalty for life, and she's showing me loyalty too. So like, I have to deliver for her. But she was very real and said, like, until you get permanent residency, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be slog. Even when you get it, there's no guarantee. But that can be a big seller. Is that you've got the look, you got the Australian thing going for you, but you if you can prove that you can work legally for much longer. An ISE visa, a work visa, is much harder to work with, and paperwork is ridiculous for them. Not out of the question, because we've all worked, but in terms of ongoing, it's a risk. Mm-hmm. If the character blows out into much more work, which we all want, then that becomes an issue. It becomes a bittersweet thing.
Well, I had Julian Haig on here, and I think it was episode 8 or something like that, right before you came on, and he was on, somewhat of a series regular on
Lucifer. Was that?
God damn!
I feel like I've seen Julian's reel actually.
Everyone now is going to be giving me shit, but I can't remember it. God damn it!
Is it one of those shows? Is it one of those supernatural shows?
It's it's one of the shows shot up in Vancouver. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I can't remember.
I just want to start throwing ones. Is it Arrow? Is it Sabrina?
It's the high school fucking
Sabrina.
No. He plays like this
Riverdale. There it is.
Riverdale.
Yeah.
It's like 8 episodes.
Great.
His visa ran out, and they said,
bye.
Ta-ta.
Yep. Same thing happened to a friend of mine, Jess, with the 100. She got invited back on the second season, but she was a New Zealander. So she had actually less of a visa than an Australian does. And which, by the way, I don't know why that is. New Zealanders get 1 month less than Australians, which I think, that's a weird thing.
It's a weird negotiation.
That's a weird negotiation indeed. But don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful. But I feel like we should all be playing on an even playing field here. I don't think New Zealanders should be getting one day less than an Australian or a Brit or an Irish person. But that did happen to her. She got invited back on the 100, and she couldn't give them the time. And that she told me that when I met her, and I told her my plan was to go there, and she said, okay, well, you need to know this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got 2 passports, so maybe that will help me there. But it was also a lesson of like, okay, you need to get there, and if you know it's for you, then you need to go for permanent residency. You need to work that out fast, and you need to commit to that process. So that's been what I've been doing, and that's why I started developing the knowledge base, and that's why I learned the things I know from the great friends I have there, and from immigration consultants, multiple, and from doing my own seminars, and from researching and doing multiple applications. And it is a process. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of things you can get wrong, but if you know the right things, it can be simple. It's just arduous, if that makes sense. It's tough, and it takes the want to get there.
Well, I think that's what separates you from even from me, is you seem to have an incredible ability to sit there and just find info and just scour the internet. Like, I fucking suck at
What
that.
research.
And I just want someone to give me the fucking
answers. Well, I mean, which is why I'm creating what I'm creating. It's for people like yourself, but at the same time, I've only done it out of necessity myself. If it was there, I'd take the easier route every time. The amount of time that could have gone into my own creative projects, developing this knowledge base, would be insane. But that's why I think I'm so determined to build a channel, which we're building on Patreon, patreon.com/ScreenSpeakLive. That's what it is.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's a video channel, but it's going to be a lot of audio stuff as well. I'll even be chopping out
a Udemy course.
What's that?
A Udemy course.
Yeah, something like that as well. Look, we're looking at Udemy, Teachable, those types of things. But that's down the track.
Mm-hmm.
But right now the focus is simply on Canada and Vancouver specifically, and what I know about that. And there's an easy path for people that want to get over there and working straight away. Build your resume. I've worked on 15 productions there, plus 2 as cast. And that's just studio productions. And then on top of that, the indie stuff. So it's a remarkable place if you want your resume to look sparkling.
Yeah. So this is what Kira said to me. I said, well, so you're going to go back? Because she's home at the moment. She said, fuck yeah, I'm going back. As hard as it is, the opportunities are still infinitely more than they are here.
Absolutely. And the community is great too. I mean, the community, the friends I've made there, they're lovely people. They understand Australians, Canadians, British, New Zealanders. We all speak the same language.
But isn't it such
more ways than one?
A bullshit scenario where you're trying to do this thing that even in any place in the world is incredibly difficult, yet you are lumped with the overwhelming evidence that where you live is fucking you in the ass every day, and that the world won't let you easily transition to this other place where the opportunities are exponentially more.
It sounds like it's coming from a pretty personal place there, Josh.
No, but you know what I mean? If you think about it, let's just say I want to fucking grow great. I want to be a winemaker.
Yeah.
Right? But I live in the Arctic. I'm fucked. And well, of course I'm going to move to where it's sunny, and I go to move and I get there and they go, no, fuck off.
That is the risk.
And yet,
for every
diversity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the risk for every winemaker, isn't it? Because no winemaker starts out trying to make wine in the snow. They don't give it a shot. We all give it a shot in the snow, hoping that it might clear and we get a shot. Not every winemaker does. But the winemaker that starts in the snow, they're not owed anything more than the winemaker that starts in Napa.
Mate, they don't even get a fucking seed to fucking germinate. You know what I mean? But you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, wine's delicious. I get you.
We have enough Aussies that have... I mean, we have content here, obviously, right?
We do, and we've got people that are working on that in fighting an uphill battle. I liken it to it's not an uphill climb; it's you're climbing a vertical surface. The other day, like you're fucking free. We're fucking free soloing like here. Like it's
right. There's no guide ropes. Yeah, it's life or death. But I think that. And look, this isn't a bitch. It wasn't like I didn't understand this before I came into it, and I'm now shocked and surprised. But when I did come into it, I think it was easier for us to get over there. I think that it's changing. I think it's getting harder, but I think that may force more content back home. That might be great.
I think. Well, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think the IEC visa, Canada, it's easy to get there until you're 34, 35, right? It's easy to do. Not everyone has to stay. By that, I mean not everyone has to go through the permanent residency, has to do that. And coming back is not the end of your career. You're coming back with 2 years, 4 years, however long you're there. Experience of a different world. And you can either come back and say, fuck, I wish I was back in Canada. Or you can be like, how do we get that? What do we have to start doing here? What can I do to build to that? Because their film industry died about 10 years ago. No one, like little to no one was working. Yeah, it was dead.
Before Arrow, right as Arrow was about to begin?
Before that, yeah. So we're talking before
after Smallville.
Yeah, after Smallville, before Arrow, there was a period where everything died. And I'm not saying those were the two reasons, but like they are really good chapters of Vancouver. And Vancouver,
Why?
Smallville was the start. I think it had something to do with the GFC, or it had something to do with
that makes sense.
Yeah, where they pulled a lot of money out of everything.
The writers' strike.
Yeah, multiple reasons. But it looked like they were fucked. They were done. So many companies invested in this stuff and thought this was the industry. This was big. This was huge. Some of them survived. Some didn't. But all in all, now look at what they're doing. They rebuilt. They started again. They came up, and now it's stronger than ever. And is it sustainable? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, some places you find it hard to shoot, and that's why I'm going into location scouting, is I want to be able to be a solution to those problems of finding places to shoot where they haven't been shooting yet. But
I've been following this incredible. It's bittersweet because it's an incredible Instagram site called like Abandoned Gems or Abandoned. I don't want to say it's Abandoned Castles because that would dictate that it's only castles. It's Abandoned something, but there's like whomever makes it their prerogative to run around finding like incredibly the castles, buildings, whatever, in forests throughout the world that are fucking abandoned, dude.
Really?
Like some of them are half
This is an Instagram?
It's an Instagram page.
I have to get it off you.
Right. Half underwater or covered in trees, and they are magical, some of them.
And this person's a good photographer, I'm assuming.
Oh, dude, a lot of them are like HD drone shots.
Okay, so it looks fucking phenomenal.
It looks epic.
Even if they're a shit photographer, it just looks insane.
They're so good, and I'm like, I hope so. The bittersweet is, I hope that you are not exposing this to the masses. They never tell you exactly where it is, but they do tell you the country. But that just blows my mind. You know, so I'm thinking about you from a recce perspective. You know, you could find. I mean, when I was living in Canada, we used to run through the prairies finding abandoned barns and photographing them at night with different lights and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
If you find an abandoned barn here in Victoria, there'd be fucking a million hipsters hanging outside smoking weed and partying. Like, you know,
there'd be a rave there.
Yeah, in the prairies, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But they've got big butt. But in the prairies, they have that mice shit disease. Have you heard about this?
No. What? This took an extremely different direction.
Now, I don't know if it's still a thing, but I imagine it is. But when I was there, and like certain barns or whatever, my buddy would be like, you know what, man, I think we should fucking skip this one. Because apparently, you know, I'm loosely connecting dots here, but he was like, if you run in there and rustle up the dust, there's a microbe or whatever that's in my shit and you will fucking die.
Jesus.
So
it's dark.
So with a lot of these were exteriors.
We're at the outside of the barn.
I've got a couple and he's like, I don't know if you should do that, man. I was like, I'm going in. It's too cool.
I mean, honestly, barns are like two of the things I've been hit up about the most. It sucks, actually. I've had 2 offers for scouting positions while I've been back here in Australia. It's so funny that's when my opportunities are coming as well. I'm back here, but you know, you've got to say no while you're away, and believe that the scarcity will serve you well down the track. You know.
But how did your film that you
Darkest Corner.
yes, in Canberra. How did that fare?
It went well. It was a good screening. I mean, once we had a little hiccup at the start, and the Q&A recording got deleted. So things do go wrong.
I didn't know that, Dave,
things
so I didn't
do
want to
go
bring
wrong.
up.
No, it's fine. Things do go wrong. And that it was entrusted to a bloke that wasn't nearly as
Trustworthy?
prepared. No, definitely trustworthy. Lovely guy, but not
Sorry, buddy.
nearly as prepared as he could be.
Oh fuck!
So the poor bloke shit the bed. But he was just but it happens. It just happens, and I was sad about it, but we made it to Canberra. Our veterans, our head, our extras coordinator and associate producer Sean of the extra specialist came and joined us for the screening, and he was stoked. He was so happy, and that was really one of my biggest criterias for the screening was: is Sean happy? Is he so stoked that he was part of this film after being in Danger Close and Dawe the Explorer and all of these things? Was he stoked? And he was pumped that we shot this thing at 30 hours or 32 or 34 hours, and it looked like that. So he was pretty pumped about that. So I was that made me really happy. And our lead Francis came out from Sydney to watch in Canberra at the Veterans Film Festival on the Remembrance Day weekend. So it was pretty special. It was special. It just and then the boys stuck around, and their film Danger Close was screened, and the Governor General came and all these things. So we had a few of the extra specialist boys there. It was very cool to be a part of the festival and get a little nod to premiere there. But since then, so normally the question is, what are you doing now? So since then, there's a new edit that we're working on for a North American release, and we're going to be doing some new work on it, and we've got some new CGI for it, and all these things that we're working in to tell the story in a slightly smoother, more worldwide ready release. So we're excited for that. It's getting close. It'll be more in the tail end of the year once we go through post and all those things. That takes time, takes resources. This one's going to take a bit of money, but it is it is kicking along, and our series concept is indeed getting some legs, and we are submitting to the Screen Queensland premium drama, which we've talked about.
Stand.
Yes, so we qualify as premium drama. While it is what might be categorized as a sci-fi, it's also not a sci-fi. It's primarily drama, and that's the point of the series. So it exists in a post-apocalyptic world, but this focus is non-tech. It's not on any kind of the sci-fi element. It's on the family dynamics. It's on the mental health issue, and that our lead actress is still functioning in this post-apocalyptic world with. And so I'm really excited about sharing that and seeing what comes back from that. If nothing, that's okay. It might be lend itself more to a North American audience, and we're in talks in Canada with a streaming service, so that's pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that came about just by some contacts at a film festival. But it's amazing, it's amazing what happens when you hang about at Whistler Film Festival and chat to people and remember buddies from the previous.
Well, that's what I was about to say. And it's not about just hanging around. It's about opening your mouth and just
absolutely.
Yeah. And
being there and talking and being able to having the ability to promote yourself and what you do, and not feeling that tall poppy syndrome, that tall poppy syndrome, but like, I shouldn't talk about what I'm working on. Like, people want to hear, people want to know.
They fucking do, man. When I first decided to be a photographer back when I was like 29, and I remember being out with my buddy who was a very established and well-respected, like written up lighting designer, who was the guy who said, "You've got to do this, man. What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck yeah.
Do it." And we would go out and people were like, we'd be chatting up girls or whatever. oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I work at sea, and I'm and when I'm free, I take some photos. He's like, no. You're a photographer. That's it. The minute I said that, I got laid. But also,
Yeah.
no, primarily people started saying, hey, well, we need one.
Yeah.
And it was an instant shift. As soon as I believed that I was.
It's a shift in identity.
Yeah, and they believe you.
Yeah.
No one wants to
No one believes
employ
you.
someone who it's their second thing and they don't quite buy it.
No one believes you until you believe in yourself.
Totally. As cheesy as it is.
100%.
That's the truth.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I've found that, absolutely. And I don't know, the same for yourself, maybe it's like acting started out as this thing I was trying. And now it's...
I hit it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I when I moved to Melbourne, I definitely hit it until one of them Googled me. But because I was working in architecture when I first moved here in 2015, 5 years ago. One Google, and that Christmas I had an Oscar. As an Oscar was my Secret Santa present. And it had on it, yeah, that's right. Someone had Googled me and it had on it Best Actor, Ginger Wolverine. And that was it. And I was like, that's it. Someone fucking Googled me. Like, they're onto me. But that's the thing is like, at that stage, I was still kind of trying to juggle two things and keep my foot in both worlds. And it was the best thing I ever did was take the full plunge. And honestly, some people did me some favors being like, what are you doing? Just take the plunge. Like, you can either do this and hope for the best, or you can, take a risk, earn a bit less, but ultimately progress what you really want to do. Now I'm earning reasonably. And still progressing what I want to do, and that's the progress.
It comes back around. It's that whole marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, I like saying managing. You're managing the marathon. That's what you're doing. That's the whole thing.
Right.
It's like understanding that it is. You still need to remember how to sprint, but you're managing the marathon, and that's what you got to do. Like a marathon runner isn't like going full hardy the whole time. What they're doing for however long, 42 Ks, I think is a marathon, is it? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
They are managing their body from shutting down. That's what they're doing in a marathon. And until they pass that finish line, then they get the euphoria, they get the rewards, they get the everything. But their job was to travel that amount of time without stopping their body from shutting down. That was their goal. A little bit faster than the person behind them. That was their goal. If you can do that, then you get the big things. You get the big rewards, the greatness.
I just started listening to a book. Now, in my mind, when I ordered it on Audible, it was an acting book by William Esper. So far, it's a biography about William Esper.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, not at all.
Okay, so William Esper I'm pretty sure he passed away only just recently, a very, not sure if prolific is the right word, successful acting school in New York. And he was a protege of Sandy Meisner for about 16 years.
Wow, okay. Yep, I know the name very well.
Yeah, and he took his method and refined it and extended it.
Cool.
In his own words.
Nice.
And I had a friend and someone I photographed a couple of times when I was living in New York who was training at the Esper School. But I'm listening to this book, and so far it's starting out as a biography, and I'm pretty sure one of the Baldwin brothers is narrating this book. But
Eric Baldwin. Yeah.
But he said he's narrating a scenario in a class where he's asking his students to define acting. And in my mind, the first thing that came to my mind was, and anyone who's listening who's Meisner trained will know exactly what this answer is because it's like one of his big things. And the first training that I ever received was Meisner, but it was very on the surface. It was just that repetition technique.
Yeah, which repetition technique?
You never done this one?
I don't know this one.
No, do you know the repetition technique?
Do I know this repetition technique?
Exactly, you do.
Do you know this repetition technique?
I do know this repetition technique. You're wearing a black sweater.
I'm wearing a black sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That's the most annoying thing I've ever done in a class. Yes. Yep.
Tell you what,
it does work though. It does work.
So
it does work.
Good, even though
it does work.
So shit.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it makes you think about things differently, and that's honestly what I think it's about. But
well, for me, it made me just watch.
oh, interesting.
So if I had blank spots where maybe I was waiting for another line because I really didn't understand the scene as well as I should have, but I knew what I had to say next, it just gave my eyes somewhere to go if I was watching. So if the actor or actress in front of me did something else, if I was watching so intently, I wouldn't miss.
You almost the line was already spoken for, right? So you had time to pay attention to their gesture.
Exactly. So I knew what was coming and I knew when to say it, but maybe I didn't know all of the other stuff and maybe I was waiting for the line to come. But if I watched closely enough, it would give my eyes something to do in the cut tos. And if they found a new moment because I was watching their physicality so much, I would follow it and it would change the way then that I delivered the next part.
Yeah, I like the tonality of it. I like the fact that like your response, if one of you throws a different tonality or something like that in there of like saying whatever, you're touching your ankle, like that's an accusation, right? And then it throws you down a completely different realm. The person has to respond to that tonality, that accusation, and then you end up in a completely different area, and it's like you're bouncing back and forth about saying the same thing over and over, but it's like it's actually the tone of people's voices that we will respond to and their gestures more than we'll respond to the actual words that people say, right? It's the subcommunication. So that's and it's that I actually think it's the most powerful. That particular but anyway, you were talking, you reading this book about that William Esper. So he asked this person in his class, what do you think acting is? So I'm thinking in my mind, that's a good question. What do I think acting is? Like, or what do you think an actor's job is? And I'm thinking, okay, it's telling a narrative with our bodies and our voices, as opposed to a pen or a guitar or what have you. And they went through all these different responses and what have you. And then it came back to what Meisner said. And I'm not quoting, but the general gist of it, and I only just listened to it, but he said, I'm probably going to add something in here, but it's being believable in an imaginary circumstance. Or it's being truthful in an imaginary situation. Yeah, I like that.
And I was like, and that's the thing that I love most in this world, and I have loved it for so long, like in terms of creativity. Since even before I knew that I loved it, if that makes sense. And then when I got into the acting world, someone was able to verbalize that, was the truth of things, even when they're imaginary. Just to believe it so much, even though it's fucking bullshit, to deliver it. It's like that's what I loved about comics when I was a kid, and still love, and that's why I wanted to be a comic illustrator. Was it's total bullshit. None of this has happened, will ever happen, and I fucking love every stroke, and I believe it so much.
I think the word you just used is the highest compliment you can get as a performer, storyteller, or whatever. Is I believed you. I believed you, and like that. If someone says that, that's the way I describe something when I've seen it. I'm like, I fucking believed you. Like, I believed that. I believed him. I believed her. I believed whatever it was, it's like that's what real storytelling is. I love that.
100%.
Yes.
So what he said after that was, so think about it. Whenever you have been to, because all of the responses from the class for the most part had some kind of leniency towards the imagination.
Yeah.
And he said, have you ever walked out of something you thought was great, whether it be cinema or theatre, and gone, oh my God, I loved it so much. It was so phony and so unbelievable. It was the best thing that I've ever seen. Never. That's not what happens.
Only The Room. Only The Room is that ever.
I was there with them and I cried and I felt like it was me and blah, 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 blah. And I thought, wow, like a million other actors who have heard Meisner say that thing. It was the first time that I'd heard it today. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And that lends itself to, you know, just following your instincts and being yourself and all of that kind of stuff that you're kind of taught. And he did talk about Stanislavski not being relevant anymore. It's like, you can't teach an actor today to act like he was a Russian in the turn of the century who had 3 years to rehearse a play. Like, you've got hours maybe before you need to be camera ready or whatever. So you need techniques that bring you out.
Totally.
Ready to go.
Fast. Yeah,
Fast.
it's true. Oh, it's true. I mean, the turnaround, just the casting in Vancouver from go to like, yes, you've got the green light to when we're shooting is pretty fast, man. You'll get this happened on a role that I can't talk about just yet, but will come out in the next couple of months. But we got greenlit on the Thursday, and then I was on set on the Tuesday. It was fast, really fast.
It's crazy.
I think that's right. No, Wednesday, because costume was Friday, and then I was on set. Then I was on set Tuesday
in the TVC world, right?
Yeah.
The audition comes through. Yeah. Oh, they're looking to cast us real quick. They want to shoot this commercial 3 days outside of you just hearing about it for the first time. Yeah. Why?
Turn around.
Did you not know that this was part of your schedule?
Turn around, man. It is
like
what it is.
If you didn't know that you were going to make a commercial.
I know. I mean, it's never casting, is it? It's never casting. I never put it to casting. It's not their fault. It never is. The lovely people that have such a tough and thankless job in casting.
Yeah. No. 100%. The people in casting I have the utmost respect for. I mean, and do you know what I respect the most is, other than it's a job that I could never do, is that they seem to fucking love it.
Gotta love it. It's one of those jobs you gotta love.
And I love that they love it. You know, like, I just think you guys are absolute legends for.
You gotta love it. They have to have. They are one of the few jobs where you really need to have both feet in both worlds of like understanding acting and actors properly, and production, deadlines, scripts, everything. Like,
they're privy to so much, though, right?
Who casting? No, I mean, it depends on the thing.
Right,
but I mean,
they can do a clean sweep and then go,
they need to
you know what? We don't like any of them. Let's change the profile.
They need to know a lot. They're not. They go back to the producers and they say, "This is what we got. We're worried."
Right.
And then the producers go, "Okay, well, we'll do this then." Like whatever it is. I mean, you were looking for this hair color. You couldn't find it. Okay, we're going to cast the net wider. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. But it all comes down to the producers at the end of the day. Absolutely. It's just the ones that call the shots. I never assume that it's casting, because it really is, in my experience in Vancouver at least. And here in Melbourne.
Right.
Melbourne was my first big exposure to it, but I found all the casting directors here, and that's not blowing smoke up anyone's ass, but I found everyone very supportive. Very supportive. Thea in particular.
Oh,
Thea,
yeah.
Thea McLeod's absolutely lovely, and she's super supportive of any actors really looking to chase it and giving them their day on Neighbours so that they can take that elsewhere. And yeah, it's.
Have you experienced any of the? I don't want to say cliche. I don't know if cliche is the right word, but the the shit that you hear about from, the A-listers that have made it. Have you experienced that incredibly cutting, derogatory environment where someone tells you you're fucked or you're useless or any of that shit? I have auditioned in Perth and Melbourne and in New York.
Mm-hmm.
A reasonable amount of times. No one has been anything but lovely.
I'm the same as you. Never had. So neither of us have auditioned in LA. We can say that.
No.
So don't know what the beast is like, but I've had friends that have auditioned there that we're now working together up in Vancouver on doing bits and pieces and tapes and things. Some, yeah, but others, like a buddy just booked because he did his hard yards in LA for a few years, like a few pilot seasons and a few things, and now he's since moved to Vancouver. They had a sweet Hallmark gig pop up there, and they needed a guy that fit exactly what his brand was, and they were like, when he got put forward, they were like, "Oh, he's up there? He's in Canada? Yeah, go straight to offer. We know he's ready." Because he'd done that from LA. He'd already put in the yards there, right? But that's just timing and place and all of those things, right? But I've never had feedback. Even when I've had a rough audition or something where I felt a bit wooden and it wasn't coming through, I've been given an extra take some of the times.
Right, they want to work
just to
with
find
you.
it, yeah, to find where it is, and because they believe you have what it takes or you have enough to
see
give.
a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not too. I don't know. I've got like you say, the utmost respect for casting. Really, it's there. We're working together to try and find what the producers want together to get that next one. That's it. What it is. But yeah, we got a couple of wins last year, so 2020 is a different beast altogether. How's that wine hitting you, mate? It's pretty tasty.
Big thank you to my friends at Naked Wines.
Naked Wines. What is it called? Rocket Like a Redhead? Is that it?
This is by Jan Pfeffer, and it's called Rocket Like a Redhead.
Rocket Like a Redhead. Thank you, Jen.
And we are affiliated with Naked Wines, and you guys can get yourself $100 off your first case of wine.
$100 off first case of wine.
Just follow the link, www.nakedwines.com/wonder.
/wonder. I'm a fan. Thank you, Jen. Rocket Like a Redhead. Reach out.
To not
I think that's me on the bottle, isn't it? It's a redheaded lady.
Have you had tits?
It's a redheaded lady wearing a dress. Oh, red.
Let's move away from the
film speak or.
No. I mean, this is Big Wonder. This is film
Big
speak.
Wonder.
But look, we've got a couple of wines in. Mm-hmm. We're having a chin wag.
Yeah.
What, do you ever muse over, as we, as artists, and we're grinding against the, mathematical probability that we're existing in the likelies to not make it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting thing when you look at a law of averages or mathematical probabilities, because and I'm not a mathematician, obviously.
Aren't you?
But they do, in my experience, like I used to work in door-to-door sales.
Yes.
And it was calculated that there was a mathematical probability that 10 people out of 100 would say yes to your pitch. on the door, and 10 people out of 1,000 would respond to radio, and 10 people out of 10,000 would respond to a letter drop, something in that vicinity.
Yeah, I did phone sales.
Right, so
yeah.
so that's something that they can quantify. I don't know if that's the right word, but in the acting world, they have this number that 3% of everyone that wants to be an actor becomes an actor. So what I'm saying is that there is always an element in all of us where there is a scenario played out where it doesn't work out. And I don't give a shit who you are. We all entertain it for a second or maybe a couple of minutes. And those of us, I think, that persevere and make it may on the tail side say, never lost hope. And maybe there's an even smaller percentage of us on the front side of it who go, yeah, but I can't imagine, and genuinely cannot imagine doing anything else. So my question to you, what's your scenario in those dark moments of you not being an actor?
It's a great question. I like how you prefaced it as well. I'm definitely the person that buys into the don't have a plan B because it detracts from plan A. I definitely subscribe to that.
Me too.
Yeah, I definitely subscribe to that. And I think there is something to that. However, and that's what you're asking about. You're asking about the however.
It's the dark moments.
It's the dark moments. And we all have them. We have the insecurities because we're human. We have the sense of self-preservation, right? About where will I sit in society if this doesn't pull off? Where will I sit financially if this doesn't pull off? Which is probably the biggest one.
I got a child on the way. What do I do when they're struggling and I can't get a gig?
Exactly. That's a big one. There's so many. What do? I think that it is paramount to develop yourself as well as developing as an actor or a filmmaker. Yes. Right? And I think you exactly pick up what I'm saying is that
100%. That's what we're mates.
Because if you is because you are developing yourself as a business person, as a communicator, as a storyteller, which is business and communicating combined. I read Peter Drucker, or was it Peter, the former head of Sony, Peter Drucker, I think is his name. I'm messing that up, and I hope he hires me one day.
I need a fact check.
Yeah, but he wrote a book called Tell to Win, and it's fascinating because he was the head of Sony.
And crushed it.
Yeah, but he shares his failures too in this book about talking about pitching to win and pitching to sell some of the most amazing books, amazing films, including 7 Years of Tibet, which is a hard sell. A book about a white
the movie was shit.
A book about a bloke with a white bloke with a Nazi symbol on him going to meet the Dalai Lama, and they still got it made and marketed and became still a hit in many ways. But Peter's very real about his stories and his the fact that being able to tell a good story is one of his key abilities, and that's the thing about committing to being an actor, a filmmaker. Even if you end up going in a different direction, you still learned how to communicate and tell an amazing story. And if it's something you can't imagine doing anywhere else, find something else that in the industry lights you up just as much, if not more so. Like, that's what scouting is for me. There's more than one way. Maybe that's having conversations with people in the industry. That's more than one way. There's so many different things that maybe don't necessarily start out with any kind of monetary value per se, like hosting free seminars. I don't want to make money from these. I just want people to come over and enjoy what I'm enjoying in Canada. And join the channel so that I can share my knowledge back to Australia. That's it.
But you still haven't told me what your dark moment vocation is.
My dark moment vocation is that it won't happen. But that's the things that what won't happen is then what I ask myself, what won't happen? Is the thing is like, okay, I maybe if that happens, if I have that thought of like, well, I didn't get that role. I was really good in that audition. I didn't get that role.
No, okay.
I've become really good at removing myself from that, making it not personal. I really have.
I feel like you're missing my question.
Maybe I am.
I'm going to redirect you.
Sure.
Tomorrow you find out you're having twins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really going to lay it on.
Okay.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. Your situation requires more money than any kind of acting little side hustle can requires and you could do.
Yep.
And the reality just fucking sets in. And so for a time you have to stop altogether.
Ooh.
I'm not talking about managing and keeping it flowing. I'm talking about that dark day where you go, I can't do this for this period of time. What do you do?
I'm on the spot.
You're right. It's great that you don't have a quick go-to.
No, I don't. I honestly
But it's an interesting question.
Honestly, it's not a scenario that I run myself through.
Because you're still 28, baby.
I'm not, mate. Maybe the last time you saw me, but I'm a crisp 3-0.
What?
Yeah.
When was your birthday?
Couple of weeks ago. Thank you. I am.
Welcome to the 3-0s.
I am, and that's only between us and the big wonder viewership.
And my 15
viewership / audio listeners. But yeah, that's right. And,
wow.
Yeah, that's come up.
Well, you look exactly the same age as you did when I first met you.
That's just the long hair talking, but I'll take that, mate. But
because you looked old as shit when you were young.
I know. Yeah, that's right. I look the same
honestly,
age.
I love you, man, but you had the oldest face.
30, man. I've looked 30 my whole 20s, and I finally looked my age, and it's like come around, and I'm so pumped for it because I've been auditioning for 30s for years, and so finally they're gonna look at the sheet and be like, "Oh, he's actually 30." Well, maybe
now we believe him.
Maybe he has the wisdom of a 30-year-old. But no, I'm genuinely excited about it. I'm not gonna skip your question, but I am genuinely excited about being.
Bitch.
But it is cool.
Let me tell you my answer.
This is the way I see it. It's like you're always you're gonna look too old or too young, or there's always gonna be that thing, but you've just gotta let it work for you because I've seen this as practice. I've seen my 20s as my apprenticeship. I see Vancouver as my apprenticeship. I see writing shitty scripts as my apprenticeship. We're always learning. I
remember.
If I did end up in a situation that you're talking about, this situation of twins, and what was the other thing? I also have leprosy. What was that?
Yeah, you're out, man. I'm talking about that dark day where we're acting and hustling in the acting world just ain't fucking cutting it because maybe you had a little spray where you bought a house and now you have a mortgage and then suddenly you get landed with triplets and you've got no gigs and no one and I'm being loving here, but no one gives a shit about your fucking lectures and you've got no fucking money. What do you do? You've got architecture, I guess, to fall back on, but that can't be an easy thing to just grab hold of.
I'm a master's dropout. What would I do? Go back and do 6 months of a master's degree?
No, well, then you got no money.
Exactly.
So what do you do?
Make it work.
No.
Is that a young man's response?
It's not a young man's response.
Is that
it's an optimistic response.
I'm an optimist. So
Same.
sue me. But here's the thing. I believe that from the skill sets that I've developed from doing this now for 7-8 years, and that with an obsessive passion for at least the past few, I believe that I could go and pitch for a living. I believe I could go and storytell in the architecture world for a living. I could pitch the hell out of some buildings for a living.
I don't know what that means. Pitch the hell out of a building.
Well, in architecture, you have to bid for projects like you do for film. So you have to go in and explain what the story is behind the building and what the connection is.
So you'd be a salesman.
I believe so.
Yeah.
But that's what a storyteller. That's what a storyteller is. If you're not selling something to buy, you're selling an idea.
An idea.
That's it. So I believe so. That's what I know. That's what I love. It's not telling to win, but it's telling to win. It's telling to connect. It's telling to do something like that. That's
a nice way of saying winning.
Yeah. I mean, it's a clever way of saying winning, but honestly, that's I'm one of those cases where I can't imagine doing anything else. I genuinely can't. But that's the thing as well.
Me either.
I could location scout. I could scout and work locations in Vancouver for the next many years and still be very content, very happy as building my life there and traveling down to LA. It's so close, and I plan to do that, is build my connection with LA. Because you're never out of the business as long as you feel fully that you're still doing your apprenticeship. Hiccups, but as long as you feel like you're still learning. If you feel like you're not learning and you're not winning and you're not doing anything.
I gotta do the hold the breath thing.
Oh, it's that bad, eh?
Can't believe I've got hiccups in the middle of the podcast. Motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm a slow drinker, you're a fast drinker.
Right, maybe a combination of the two.
Yeah, I'm a whiskey drinker, so I think that's my problem. I drink beer slow.
Where's the whiskey?
Touche.
Yeah.
Bought a bottle of wine. I know my audience.
Yeah, it was also supposed to bring food.
Ha! I can't. It's just a mixed. It's a mixed. This podcast has gone off the rails. It's a mixed house of vegan and whatever the fuck you are. So
yeah, I'll eat free food, buddy. Don't worry about that. I wish I had got some fucking. What was it that I said I was going to get? It's not brandy. It's
wine.
Starts with the C. Fucking hell.
Cognac.
Cognac. Yeah, I've been.
You couldn't find that word, but you could find the first letter.
Yeah. I knew it was like K.
Which is like a French whiskey.
It's a French brandy.
French brandy, that's what it is.
Yeah. From the region or whatever. That same thing that they hold title over.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
If you get your chance to drink an old cognac, it's like, oh.
I've been loving it over the last sort of 18 months. Ever since I was shooting Weevil. And then
Weevil.
Right?
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
When old mate rolled up with that $270 bottle of Hennessy. Oh, yeah. And we got fucking shit-faced on it. I've been loving it ever since then.
Was that it? Was that
that?
I still remember that. That was great.
I wanted it last year.
We were doing a photo shoot out in Bumfuck, Victoria.
It was like Bacchus Marsh, out that way on your way past Ballarat or something. What was the something falls? you and I went up to like size up whether we were going to camp or whatever, and we never fucking camped there.
Yeah, we didn't camp. We didn't camp, but we didn't camp
Trinity
there.
or Pinnaky or something like that.
Yeah. Can't remember. But it was a good trip. We didn't camp.
You're going to have to hold the fort. I'm going to have to piss and I'm going to have to cut.
I guess I'll hold. I like the Big Wonder. Why did you start the Big Wonder? Why did you start this podcast?
Hey, that's a great question. Anyone who's an avid listener will know the answer to this question. It's twofold. I started it to build an audience around my script, and I also started it to hopefully one day create a platform that Australian filmmakers, writers could vet ideas, and that it'd be popular enough that production companies knew about it and would be listening in to find their next film.
Love that. That's really cool.
That's why. And that's the honest to God truth.
That's really
not
cool.
a jazzed up way of promoting myself. That's the honest truth.
I think that's really cool. I think like you could do that and have people sign things so that they own the ideas that they put out there, and then they just reach out and say, "Hey, we love that. You own it. Let's work together."
I had a woman reach out to me today, which is my first reach out from someone who wanted me to use my platform, which is great. So all of you who are listening, love this moment as much as I'm loving it. And asked me to promote what she was doing through the podcast.
Cool. Great.
Which was awesome. But I said to her, I really think that you should come on.
Yeah.
And talk to me for an hour and a half or whatever and promote what you're doing, because actually what you're doing is pretty awesome. And what she's doing, let me set the premise for an upcoming episode. She is a very established, awarded, distinguished playwright, actress, scriptwriter, producer, I think, here in Melbourne, who is launching a short film festival where the proceeds go to the fire relief.
Love that.
I mean, so epic, so awesome.
Can't.
Good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. No faults here.
And she reached out to me, which was awesome. So, and which was through Howard Fine.
Love that. There's a nice connection.
So she'll be on the podcast soon, and I might even, sorry to my other guests who are on the hard drive waiting to be published, I may expedite her episode because
I mean, for time's sake, I think
time's sake, and to be in.
I think for fire. I was going to say, I think for fire relief, I think you're
it's got to be done.
Your current guests, myself included, will understand. Absolutely, like it's very very
I
important.
thought you were about to say with her.
Myself excluded.
Myself excluded. You got to get mine down.
I mean, you did just preface her, so she has to come before me. So you have to expedite mine to then make that work. So either you're going to cut this out, or you will, in fact, release this one as a preface to this lovely,
I do it like
lovely
a little
next
lotto
guest.
draw, with the bowls.
Yeah, that's right. I'm. You know what? I'm happy to be that segue interview. I feel like we're doing that together. But
hey, champ, it's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to be here, mate. Yeah, I'm excited, pumped. Monday,
I'm glad you like the podcast.
Yeah.
By the
dude,
way.
I love it. Yeah,
and I do mean that sincerely.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking great.
It's one of those.
You're really avid, and you're really onto it to keep promoting, and that's what we have to do with what we love, is make sure that we're consistent with it. That's exactly what it is, man. It keeps me very accountable, and I love that.
I listened to Joe Rogan talk about this the other day, and he said, I tell everyone to start a podcast, and there's probably all these podcasts that exist because of that. And I just heard recently that there's like 900,000 podcasts in the US or something like that. But he said the secret is the grind.
Mm-hmm.
The grind. You cannot do it any less than one a week.
Totally.
And that's what separates you. It's just the hustle.
The hustle.
Just all the time. All the time.
All the time.
Because
that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it's got to be.
What they say is that most podcasts die after the 7th episode.
Yeah, I've heard that. And
This
honestly,
is number 20.
respect. You've made it past number 7.
You're my first number 2.
I'd take that as a compliment.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm your
Second
first number
time.
2, not in a dirty way. And yeah, I would a second timer. Yeah, and I'm honoured. I'm genuinely honoured. I had a great time the first time. That's why I wanted to do it again. It's great. Big Wonder works. I love it.
Love you, buddy.